Are you paying more for eggs than a medieval peasant? According to Geoffrey Elsingman, in the late 13th century, so the late 1200s, a dozen eggs would cost one half of an English penny in England. One English penny at the end of the 13th century was worth about 14 US dollars. It actually says $10 in the book. However, it was written in 2013, so I did go online and find a few inflation calculator websites. So, at the end of the 13th century, a medieval peasant was likely to pay somewhere around $7 for a dozen eggs. Meanwhile, sugar, a lot harder to come by. 1 pound of sugar would have been worth 1 or 2 shillings, and a medieval shilling is worth, in 2025 American money, around $140. So, for a pound of sugar, you're looking at roughly $200 price range. A book might cost around 6 shillings, modern day $840. And a 2-pound loaf of bread was a quarter penny, so about $3.50 modern time. So you can understand why, for 2 pounds of bread at less than $5, that is something that people are really going in on. But of course, it's important to put these numbers in relation to the actual earned wages. So, still citing from this book, a standard laborer might make 1.5 pennies to 2.5 pennies per day, so let's call that about $20. And a knight would make 1 to 2 shillings per day, so that might be closer to $200. Of course, the cost of goods depends on availability, seasonality, if the chickens get sick, that kind of stuff. And the amount of money you might make depends on what kind of available work there is and what season it is. You might make less in the winter because there's less daylight, and more in the summer if there's more daylight, because you're basically just working daylight hours. So, eggs might be expensive, but at least it's not half of my income. And of course, these only apply to the people who would have to buy those things, because of course a lot of peasants would have a chicken and get the eggs for free, and then they could sell the eggs for this price and, make a little extra money. So,